For sure, Kevin Solaric is pretty good at that as well. We'll move on into Conference B right now. Conference B, obviously one of the top teams to look at, and definitely one of the favorites. Matt Yanofsky has put together a very good team in the High Rollers. So
it is the group of death, by the way. It is the group of death.
It's East Division is definitely the division in FlagPlus for Division 2.
And Ross would know the Shockers seem to always be in that group of death. But let's talk High Rollers first. Some great players in there.
Ross, you can break it down, man.
Okay, well, you can take Shockers out.
Don't worry, I will.
High Rollers, they've got a great quarterback in Kevin Wyatt. I mean, this guy, I've played for him in the All-Star game last season, and I believe that there's no other quarterback that can put the ball in your hands at the time you need it. When Kevin Wyatt's throwing the ball, he's the guy to get it done. I also think that with the Taylor brothers, they bring speed to a defense and an offense, obviously. Also, Keyshawn's on the team, and definitely can't even hear your quarterback hot routing because Keyshawn's talking too much. They've got Mike Harrington. They also have Mo here, who's, with his D1 experience, I'm sure will prove to be problems for other opposing teams. But I really think that the High Rollers are a good team. I look forward to playing them in Week 10. Hopefully, that'll come down to the playoff. That'll come down to the division.
Well, we'll have the division sewn up by then. We'll have our B leaders playing for us by then.
Okay. Now Mo talking big, but let's see what he has to say about Ross's Shockers.
I'll tell you what though, Ross's Shockers are pretty impressive. Saw them play on Friday night against your Kings. And Andre Knights, when I first saw him play, I thought this guy had like 20 years of football experience, and Ross told me off air how he doesn't. He just plays football just like that, and I was quite impressed by his speed, his hand-eye coordination, catching the football. So I think he is the X factor for them in regards to their team. Your quarterback did a pretty good job. It reminds me of Philip Rivers in the sense of how he throws the football three-quarter motion, but yet it's effective and it gets the job done.
54 touchdowns.
54 teams. There you go. Exactly. So I think the Shockers are a team to look out for, especially in the group of death.
Another team to look out for in that group of death in the East Division of Conference B of Division 2 is Wolfpack, who some of you might remember in the winter Division 3 championships were the runners-up. They lost to the Strangers, but they put in a great fight. They had a great offensive team, good leadership by QB Tommy Wolf. So, I mean, I don't know if there's much else to say, but that's another great team, and in addition to the Sooners, will provide a very good challenge in the East Division. Moving on to the Central Division, there's the Red Army, Voodoo, and the Water Buffaloes. I know somebody's got something to say about the Voodoo.
I remember Voodoo being a #1 seed in last year's playoffs. I didn't get to watch them that much, but they got knocked off by the 8th seed, and that was that for Voodoo. So I'm sure they're coming into this season hoping to avenge that embarrassment in the Week 1 of the playoffs. Also, another good team was Water Buffaloes. They were seeded 8th in the division, and they knocked off the #1 unbeaten Vipers, which most of FlagPlus football was happy to see that.
I'll tell you right now, Water Buffaloes is going to win this division because they have Craig O'Brien, who I played with actually my first season of FlagPlus football, and the guy is really talented when it comes to play calling, looking at the defenses, picking them apart, and that's I think one reason why they beat the Vipers last year in the playoffs, because he found out a way to really pick the Vipers defense apart, and I think he's definitely going to be another great QB in the league this year, and he should, I think, definitely take charge of the division.
Definitely. You'll remember that game was one heck of a shootout. The Vipers could put the points on the board, but they couldn't stop it that day. Moving on to the West Division, speaking of the Vipers, in fact, maybe the team that will let you know about how good they are constantly. There's a lot of good players, but some changes too. So let's talk about the Vipers.
I played the Vipers this past Saturday with my Montreal's finest team. Mind you, it's D1 versus D2, so you can't really use this as a measure stick in regards to their talent. My question for them entering the season is their quarterback position. Matt Beaton, who played for them in 2006 in the Winter League, played this past Saturday. Didn't impress me too much. It seemed like he was scared. Rolling out to his right, to his left, was not confident as Tony DeBet was, who came in later on in the game and helped, cement some drives that led to some touchdowns, some yards for the Vipers. So my question for the Vipers entering the season is their quarterback position. Can they elevate their game with a new quarterback? If not, Matt Beaton or Tony DeBet?
For sure. Tony DeBet has a history of coming in and making the big play for a team at the quarterback position right when they need it. And of course, we can't fail to mention a teammate of mine in the Division 3 champion Mustangs, Nareg Yesayan, who is easily one of the top wide receivers in FlagPlus football. The guy's got everything: size, hands, athleticism. Really, I can't say enough good things. And then there's Ara, who will probably make his voice heard at some point or another.
The Keyshawn wannabe.
That's right, Keyshawn version 2.
I just want to say one more thing, Darren, if you don't mind, about 20 This guy, like you said, comes in when he really needed most in the team. He came in the Wolverines championship in 2006, and he came in to replace Gini DeFazio, and he definitely led that team to the championship. Last year again, when the Wolverines QB went down in D1, he came in again, did a great job, and was maybe 1 point away from winning, beating the Maroons in the playoffs. And again, I think if they give him a chance this year in the Vipers, he can definitely bring the team to another level.
But I think the main thing for the Vipers this year is they had the easiest schedule last year in D2. They came into the playoffs and got beat by the 8th seed. If anything, they have to avenge these losses, and they'll be raring to go for this season.
Definitely, they'll be hot out of the gate, most likely. So that's it for Division 2. We'll be moving on to Division 3.
That is passed.